Good evening, everyone. This is Sunil sir, and today I am going to discuss about the dynamic environment of teaching learning activity. Dear friend, in this video, we shall discuss about the dynamic environment of teaching, in which environment the teaching can be effective. In this case, we shall discuss very vividly. Please keep on watching this video till the end so that you will get lot of point, lot of things out of this video. Definitely, without delay, let's get started. The dynamic level of teaching, the dynamic environment. Effective communication is the essence of teaching. Is itself is a very dynamic in nature, and teaching changes according to the time and place. Do you know that, friend? The effective communication is the essence of teaching. Without effective communication, teaching cannot be occur very effectively, and the teaching can be changed according to the time and according to place, and the its environment consists of the interaction among three variables. Three variables depend on the dynamic environment. What is that? These are independent variable, independent variable, dependent variable, and mediating or intervening variable. So, who are coming under independent variable? Teacher are largely assume is the independent as they are in the position to manipulate the behavior of students. So, independent variable is known as teacher. Why teacher is known as independent variable? Because teacher is largely among in independent because its position manipulate the behaviors of students. And dependent variable, who is dependent variable? Students are dependent variable because it's open teacher. Okay, teachers for learning. And third one is mediating or intervening variable. What are there? What are there in intervening variable? The example are teaching method, teaching instruction, facilities, and motivational technique. These are the meditating. The meditator variable hypothesis that the independent variable impact the meditating variable, and which turn the impact on dependent variable. If the independent variable motivational technique or the mediator variable is a what mix or mixically or the combination of what mediating and independent variable, they turn impact on the dependent variable or on the student. According to Richard P. Hyman, okay, sorry, Ronald T. Hyman, the dynamic trial of teaching involve the teacher, the learner, and the subject matter. So three topic is there. One is teacher, another is learner, another is subject. Education is also assumed to be a tripolar process of pupil, teacher, and social environment. It may be tripolar process. Tripolar means three way. That means there is a pupil, there is a teacher, and there is a social environment. Okay, so in this environment, we shall discuss so many things. Number one is that teaching is a complex whole. Why teaching is a complex whole? You can see that the teachings makes use of all sort of technique, methods, and media, and also entails skills such as questioning, probing, exempling, etc. The teaching also make use of the media such as audio-visual media, human interaction, print media, relay, electronic media, etc. Success in teaching to a great extent depend upon the selection and use of appropriate technique, method, media makes it complex. So do you know that, friend, teaching is a complex whole. Why complex form? There is because a lot of technique, method, media, are a lot of skill are being used in teaching learning activities. So many media such as audio-visual media, human interaction, print media, media, electronic media are vividly used in teaching learning activity. That's why it is a complex whole. Teaching visualize change in behavior. Teaching visualize change in behavior. How? It that the changes is discussed in the cognitive domain, that means knowledge. Okay, then your affective domain, attitude and motivation, and psychomotor domain, that means physical skill, are tentatively permanent. The change that occur in the learner's needs need not to be performative, but it is a potential ability of the learner. Do you know that the behavior can be changed? Only the student have the cognitive domain, knowledge is there. Effective domain, that means attitude and motivation will be there, and psychomotor domain, that physical skill also be there. So no need to be performative. Only what has to be done, it is a potential ability of the learner should be extracted, right? Now you can see that teaching can be direct or indirect. Okay, in the dynamic teaching, you can see that the teaching can be direct teaching or indirect teaching. How direct teaching occur? Direct teaching here, teachers use methods such as lecture, demonstration, etc., and engages students to face interaction. It is a direct method. Teacher give his or her lecture, demonstrated something, and engage the student to face interaction. Without teacher and student, it cannot be happen direct method. And indirect method, that indirect teaching here, active learning, okay, active teaching method such as role play, project, assignment, and a basically learner centered method where the involvement of the learner is higher. Where the involvement of the learner is higher, then it is called indirect teaching method. Indirect teaching method, where teacher give the student lot of role play, project, assignment, and the student has to be done. So this is called indirect teaching method, right? And this method have been discussed in the concept box. So we can say that different type of concept are there in the teaching learning method. So number one is bipolar process. There will be a teacher and learner. It is known as bipolar method, and it is a bipolar process of learning. Second number is, it is a tripolar process. Okay, teaching learning process. It is not teacher learning process. It is teaching learning. Okay, teacher learning process, tripolar process. What are they? You can see the tripolar process. Okay, teacher will be there, learner will be there, and curricular will be there. It is known as tripolar process. After that, okay, it is a quadripolar process. Quadri means four. Quadri means four. Tripolar means three. Bipolar means two. Okay. Two-way teacher and learner will be there. Bipolar. Tripolar in the teacher, learner, and curriculum will be there. It is tripolar process. And where the teacher, curriculum, learner, and physical climate will be there, this is known the teaching learning process, or what? Quadripolar process. Right? I hope that you might have understood very clearly about the polar of teaching learning process. It is a bipolar teaching learning process, tripolar teaching learning process, and quadripolar teaching learning process. Now you can see that teaching can be vertical or horizontal. How it is? Okay, in vertical teaching, teachers may be lead a student deep into the topic. In the vertical process, teacher take the student in the deeper to the topic, and they teach learner higher order of thinking skill such as analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and creation. Right? So this is called what? Vertical. Vertical means it is downward. Okay, teacher to student, downward process. And what will be your horizontal process? In it is okay. Convergently, horizontal process, more area spread and over several topic instead of going deeper into a one topic. one topic is covered. So that means the teacher don't give only one topic. Okay, teacher has to give more topic to involve in the various okay, various topic are to be covered in horizontal process, right? And you can see that teaching may be a planned or unplanned. You can teach to the student with plan, or you can teach to the student with unplanned. So how it is possible? You traditionally teacher plan for the instruction before they go to the classroom for teaching content analysis and text analysis is performed. The techniques and the method to be to be used in the teaching area decided, and then evaluation is performed. So in which, before going to in the traditional method of teaching, teacher the plan the instruction what has to be taught and how to, okay, how to touch, what to touch, and he which technique should be implemented, how to perform the teaching, okay, and what the method should be used. these are these are something happen in the traditionally, so it is called plant teaching. And what is on plant teaching? However, with the coming active learning method, there is no strict planning is possible. One is not clear and advanced. What could be impossible way to organize teaching in learning activity? That means in this current era, in active learning method, no strict plan is possible. So that, okay, teacher has to be flexible, not clear in advance what to be the possible way to organizing teaching learning activity. So this is called what? On plan activity. Now you can move another topic, okay, training, development, instruction, and indoctrination will be very essential in dynamic teaching. Okay, dynamic teaching training is very essential. How it is possible? Okay, uh, training is a short-term process utilizing a systematic and organized process by which the student or the non-managerial person learn the technical knowledge skill for definite purpose, right? You can say that in the short term process utilizing, okay, systematic organized procedure by the student or non managerial person learn what technical knowledge skill for the definite purpose is known as what? Training. In this training, you can see it is for a short duration and for a specific job related purpose. Now when the teacher joins some institution, the authorities make them familiar with the rules, regulation, policies of the institution, and that is called what? Induction training. When the student or when the pupil teacher, okay, selected in their teaching field, then initial training be provided to the pupil teacher or the teacher, that is known as induction training. In inquiry, okay, the inquiry training model is developed by Richard Schumann to teach the student process in investigating and explaining unusual phenomena. Then development. What is the development? There is a long-term continuous educational process utilizing systematic organized process which the managerial persons learn conceptual and theoretical knowledge for a general purpose. When in the long term, the constitutional educational process is utilizing what? Systematic and organized procedure, which managerial person learn concept and theoretical knowledge of a general purpose. That is known as development. It involves the philosophical and theoretical educational concepts, and its purpose to the long-term development for manager, right? For example, the teacher says the manager how to manage to the student so that he has to develop his knowledge and skill. Instruction. Instruction is the process of technique and engaging student with the content. How does the teacher organize time and activities in implementing that the content, that means curriculum and plan. So in order to implementing the curriculum and plan, teacher has to what? Organize some activities for the student, that is known as instruction, right? Indoctrination can be termed as the highest order of teaching. And indoctrination, belief and ideas are impressed upon the other, and impressed on the other can be included in teaching. Teacher can be done without indoctrination. Teaching can be done without indoctrination, but indoctrination is not possible without teaching. That means teaching can be done without indoctrination, but indoctrination is not possible without teaching. Okay, in order to get into indoctrination, you have to teach so that you can obtain indoctrination. Right? Okay, now move to the intellectual activity. In the dynamic, okay, it is a part of the dynamic, okay, teaching, intellectual activity. Okay, teaching is essential to cognitive activities. Cognitive activities means knowledge activities. If teacher will be good knowledge of a particular topic, then he or she can deliver his lecture very effectively before the student, right? And it requires conscious and continuous organization of learning activities. So it is a continuous organization of learning activities. Conscious means, okay, knowingly. If the teacher knows every concept very clearly, then he or she can teach to the student very effectively and continuously without taking any interval. Right? You can see that it is, okay. It entails the creation of conducive and supportive learning environment. If the teacher or learning cannot be happen with the conducive and supportive environment, so in order to create, or in order to okay, teach to the student very effectively, then conducive environment and supportive environment is very essential. A teacher has to involve the suitable plan for a, okay, action to achieve the desired change in the behavior of a group of learners. So what we need to do, what the teacher has to do, teacher has to, okay, create the suitable environment so that the behavior can be changed, behavior of the student can be changed. The learner constitute the raw material, and is as expectation of learner are always varied. So expectation of the learner are always varied. That means if you are thinking that all the student will be excellent in my class, it is not possible. Some student may be excellent and some student may not be excellent. So that is varied from person to person, student to student. And teaching is a science as well as art. Teaching is a science as well as art. How? You can see that teaching, okay, teaching profession is based upon the systematic body of knowledge, and which has been derived from the social, psychological, and historical, political, and economic sphere of the life. And it is also influenced by the religious, spiritual, and ethical belief of the society. Teaching is a techniques are systematic, and they have been defined, okay, definite step to be followed, and easy to communicable. On this basis assumption, the science, the teacher can be trained. Okay, without train, the teacher cannot, okay, teach to the student, because it is a science. Teaching is a science, because a teacher has to, okay, has some knowledge for which he derived from the social, so, okay, psychological, historical, political, then economical sphere of the life. It is also influenced the religious, spiritual, and ethnical belief of the society, without which we cannot teach. So it is known as science. And apart from that, it can be also arts. Why it is arts? It take place in the dynamic environment. Without having dynamic environment, teacher cannot teach, and the teacher has to deal with the individual differences in the class for tactful manner, and this required a lot of individual, okay, individualized approach and discretion. So dear friend, the teacher, if do not have the idea of art, then he cannot handle the tactfully to the manner in the different kind of student. Then self organization. Okay, self organization, people in the teaching profession are sensitive toward the growth and development because it is self organized, and they involve the definite mechanism to sustain and promote the standard of the teaching profession. If you want to okay, make the standard of teaching profession, then teacher has to do some better thing, right? The growth in the technique teaching profession is organic in nature. Organic, that is the growth happen in the spontaneous manner. Spontaneous manner means continuous manner, the growth can be happen. And social service, teaching is a social service. How it is social service? It has been accepted at that education is potent tool to the bring about change in any nation. It is useful to develop the society. Social service, if the teaching learning activities will not happen, the society cannot develop, a nation cannot develop. So it is known as social service. High degree of autonomy. Okay, teaching is a high degree of autonomy. Okay, autonomy is different from autonomous level. Autonomy and autonomous is different. That is applicable IB equal to n in case of student, IB equal to n in case of student, but there is a high degree of autonomy in a teaching profession, right from curriculum development, planning activity for year, and identifying instructional activities, deciding upon the method of teaching, media, evaluation, okay, criteria and technique to the, okay, divided in the admission and promotion rule. Okay, promotion rule and autonomy in planning and execution of curricular co-curricular activities. You know that, dear friend, lot of thing has to be bring in setting in the classroom, okay, to the to teaching of the student, to teach to the student, okay, because teaching, media, evaluation, criteria, techniques, this divided in the admission and promotion rule of the autonomy planning. Right now, teaching as a profession. Okay, now teaching is a social science, teaching is a high degree of autonomy, teaching is a profession. Okay, teaching is how teaching is a profession. You can say that teaching is the profession that makes other profession possible. Without teaching, other profession cannot happen. Okay, without a student, without becoming a student, one can become IAS officer, IPS officer, doctor, engineer, but not at. So teaching is the basic thing. Okay, through this profession, one can become other profession, other possible profession, right? And there are only courses such as BD or MED, and which impart knowledge and skill, establish the foundation for the successful pathway to the career of teaching. Without doing BEd or MED, one cannot be a good teacher. It's entail, okay, sorry, each entail a number of year of studying and intermittent training period. A teacher has to improve his or her qualification for advancement in the teaching career. One has to qualify lot of education, and he has to spend lot of years also. Otherwise, he cannot, or he or she cannot be a good teacher. We have to be acquired BD or MED to become a teacher. So teaching is a profession. Okay, teaching is or a social service. It may be a degree of autonomy, or it may be a, okay, profession. Thank you for learning this thing. Okay, the environment, Yes, for dynamic environment teaching is over. Now, objective of teaching will be discussed in our later videos. Thank you. All the best and happy learning.